Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Hope you're having a great week. Last week, Pete McKnight was here, the performance consultant, joined us from England. Guy's been around for a long time, done all kinds of Olympic coaching, and now he's a consultant to all of these giant organizations like Red Bull and all of these. It's just crazy, but that was a really good one, performance consultant. But we talked about longevity, and we talked about all kinds of good tips for living more healthy. Just like today, we're going to do the same thing with my guest, my buddy Jeff Turner's with us, calling this one, What's Your Purpose? Live Stronger and Longer. Jeff is a coach, guide, and fitness expert. SoCal guy. And then, you know what? I was out in SoCal for 15 years, so he knows all about the Southern California. And now I probably understand why he's not in SoCal anymore. Because things have changed and people move around, but that's all right. That's all right. What motivated Jeff to get his certification in exercise science and from UCLA and Master of Sports Science and Sports Sciences and MoveNet certification, functional movement system, all this kettlebell stuff, all these certifications. People that know their stuff, you have to be certified. You have to take these classes and you have to learn the correct way of doing this. If your goal is to live a long and healthy life, stick around because this is the guy that's going to help us figure it out. Progress, as he says in his bio, is his passion. I want to welcome to the radio program for his first, definitely not going to be his last episode with us, my buddy Jeff Turner. Jeff, welcome to the show, bud.
Tom, thanks, man. Happy to be here and excited to talk about everything you just mentioned.
We're going to go through it, man. You know, we have a lot of fun talking about this stuff, and you're a really fit man. I mean, you when I saw your stuff and I started reading up on you and found you on Facebook, I was like, this guy's got it going on. And it's like people who walk the same walk as I do. I love talking to you guys because you have done there. You've been there. So let's talk with this is your life, your family, and your progress from the 80s. You've been in fitness for 40 years. I mean, go ahead, please take this time to introduce yourself to our listeners and talk about your family, please.
Okay. Wow. This is often where I go off on tangents and ramble. So please do not let me do that. But like you said, I started in the early 80s, and I did that for a handful of years. And then I met my three mentors and I've been doing this 6, 7 years already. And then I saw what was capable, what they were talking about. And that raised the bar. And that's what sent me back to school so I could hang with these guys and I could understand what the heck they were talking about. They were talking to me as one of them, as a peer. But I clearly was not. They were all PhDs. One was an MD PhD. In fact, one of them was Fred Hatfield. He was my first in-person mentor, and he was the co-founder of the ISSA. They called him Dr. Squat, published over 50 books. So I did an apprenticeship with him for a handful of years and was a lifelong friend until he passed. So I got a lot of how I look at things, my perspective from Fred, and which was interesting. But so, just the personal training thing and moved to Hawaii, back from Hawaii to LA, then to Columbus, Ohio for 25 years. Strength conditioning coach for Columbus Crew and other teams and all kinds of different athletes. Created an academy where I started training student athletes because people knew who I was because of, being with the sports teams. And so I trained thousands of athletes, of student athletes. And Tom, that was super fun. I was a girl dad. I have 3 kids. My son lives with his mom in the beach area, California, but I raised my girls on my own. So I was a girl dad. And so I coached strength conditioning, coached their clubs, soccer, lacrosse, and stuff like that. So anyway, thousands of athletes, and that was super fun. So
what are their names? Share the names of your kids.
yeah, so Garrett Turner, he's in Laguna Beach. Then my daughter Rachel Turner, she's here in Montclair, New Jersey. And then my daughter Brianna Robinson, who's married in North Carolina. So
they always like to hear their names, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff Turner's our guest today, everybody. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer. Now, if you go on Facebook, if you just Google him or you'll find him. Okay. But we're going to talk about some really interesting things today. But on his Facebook page, I want to make sure I said this right from the get-go, because right on the top of his Facebook page, getting older is inevitable. That's a long pause. There's no doubt about that, right? How we're going to do this is up to us. What's our ROI? What's the goal? You guys have heard me talk about living to 100 with quality of life. So Jeff's in the same boat. Getting older is inevitable, and becoming weak and fragile is preventable. When you wrote that, Jeff, what were you thinking? Because I mean, how long ago was it when you were coming up with this stuff and thinking about these things? Because even on your Instagram post, you've got all kinds of really cool slides on there with just kind of getting people motivated. Where did you come up with the getting older is inevitable, becoming weak and fragile is preventable? Did you grab that from somewhere? Is that a Jeff creation?
So I would love to say everything is mine. And honestly, Tom, that might be, I don't know. I have so many notes and things I've written over the years that I always attribute at least 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then I'm just claiming it as my own. I think I did write that one, but it's been with me for quite a while. And it's just, that's kind of the ethos. It's, hopefully we get older. Hopefully getting older is inevitable. Hopefully we keep doing this thing.
Yep.
But becoming weak and fragile, that is, and I say preventable, it's just like back in the day we used to say ACL prevention programs. There's no such thing as prevention, but we sure can minimize or reduce the risk of. So, but it stuck, and I wrote it and rewrote it and rewrote it, and then said, you know what, this is gonna kind of be my thing moving forward, because I've some of my pro athletes that I trained, knee replacements, hip replacements. I mean, they're broken. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And just some of the people that that you and I grew up with. I mean, we know these people who are just they're weaker and they're fragile. And it doesn't have to be that way, and it's not hard. We'll talk more about the intensity and all that stuff, but this doesn't have to be hard. But this is much of what I do, is help people change the story about what they think it takes to become strong, fit, and healthy. Because that story, it's just not true.
You must be reading my mind, because I was just thinking, as you're just making that statement, how much of this game is mental.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about that, please. I mean, we got a minute to go before we go to break here, and I'll set this up, but how much of it is mental?
It's so this is where I start when people say, this is where, and I'm not a mindset coach. I don't, because there's plenty of people out there who do an excellent job. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor by any means, but we talk about this. And what I say is awareness of where you are. And then, I talk about rhythm a lot too. And it's about, having the grace, Tom, to have space, to accept where we are, and to give yourself the time to get where you want to go. And therein lies, what we'll talk about soon also, how to develop a physical practice, because it's just small incremental steps.
That is absolutely a fact. All right, let me reset this thing. I'm going to carry this thing through break, give you guys an idea of what's coming up here so you'll stick around for us. Calling this one today, What's Your Purpose? Live stronger and longer. Jeff Turner's my guest. I love what he just said about awareness of where you are. I'm going to hit him up on that one. Here are some of the notes that Jeff sent over to me to talk about. First, I went there in our pre-show call, and I'm going to make this clear right now. This isn't even part of his 4 bullets. There is no silver bullet, you guys. There's no silver bullet. Okay, Jeff, there's no silver bullet.
No,
True. You, I mean,
got to
we know.
show up.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about, everybody, so that you're aware, and please stick around for this, because it's going to be a really good one. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer with Jeff Turner. Number 1, physical practice. What are we going to do in our physical practice? Because everybody's a little bit different, and let's find something that we are going to continue to do. I mean, if you're going to go to the gym and you're going to hate it, well, change it up. Do something that you like to do. Physical practice, and again, we'll talk about all the things that Jeff has run into with his coaching clients over the last 40 years. The dose, can't wait to get to that. Living stronger, longer. And then what Jeff was what he was just saying, rhythm. I like to think of balance, but rhythm is good too, baby. Rhythm is good too. Jeff Turner's here. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer. This is the Tom Matt Show. Boom. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. Segment of the Tom Matt Show is sponsored by Craig, Ameriprise Financial. Love the guy. Again, full disclosure, you guys. All of our retirement zone savings is with Craig and Ameriprise because I don't want to have to deal with it. Okay. With all of these fluctuations in the market and all this up and down and all this good. Our thing is what we do over here. Let somebody help you with your financial fitness and look it up on our website because that's what we call the financial fitness segments that we have on this radio program. Craig Stiles is our Ameriprise financial advisor, and we hope he's going to become yours. Please call him 1-800-528-1355. His local number, 517-483-4893. His email is craig.stiles@ampf.com. Offices are located at 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan, 48823. If you're put off by the East Lansing address, everybody, don't worry about that because Ameriprise is a huge company and these guys all network and they know each other. So if you want somebody, if you're in California or you're in New Jersey, like my guest today, or Florida or whatever, hit us up because Craig he'll do the vetting for you. He'll do all the heavy lifting. Just go for it. Stations that have carried us do carry us. Of course, the Michigan Talk Network is our syndication all over the Midwest. WGHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven carried us for a long, long time. They were the very first station ever to carry us on broadcast radio, and I'm so grateful to them. So thank you so much for that, Will and Wendy Hart. They gave me Will Team and Wendy Hart. They gave me a lot of good confidence. WGIM 1240 AM in Lansing is the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids. WKLQ 1490 AM in Muskegon. WYPV FM 94.5 in Mackinac City, way up north. And, of course, our PBS affiliate at Michigan State University, WKAR, AM 870, blasting us all over Michigan. And simulcast at 102.3 FM in East Lansing, Sundays at 5. Craig Stiles, again, thank you for creating Necessary Analytics, where we are making light of weighted decisions. And last, I want to say thank you to Steve and Ivy Gruber, the owners of the Michigan Talk Network, for having faith in us way back in the day. All right. Back to our guest today, Jeff Turner. We're gonna crush this one. I want to get back to that last statement you had at the end of the previous segment, Jeff, on the awareness of where you are. I mean, when you say something like that to a client, what are you trying to describe? What are you trying to get into people's heads? Because we got to start at the head first. Please go right ahead.
Yeah, when you said that, I mean, I'm flashing to so many conversations I had with parents and their kid, but we'll talk. We'll stay with our demographic here. You come to me and you say, you know what, I read your stuff. I like what you do. I want to lose a few pounds. I want to feel better. I just don't want to degrade or decline as I get older. Great, Tom. Let's talk about where you're at right now and what you're eating and how you're sleeping. Things that I call the low hanging fruit. And because these are the biggest big rocks, the biggest bang for the buck. And we talk about sleep, and you're getting 4 or 5 hours a night because you're busy, and you're redlining life. You're a hard charger, and you always have been, and you always will be. And you just don't have. Do you meditate? No, I don't have time to. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm hearing all these things, and it's like, Tom, you want to be here, but you're way over here. There are things that we need to do before you can even get to the fun stuff that you want to do. And that's what I mean by it's clarity of, your starting point. And so many of us, when we start something back or for the first time, it's almost like we're trying to make up for lost time. And so we do too much too soon. And then we know what that produces. That produces a lot of pain and then frustration, and then we stale, and then we stall, and then it's like, I can't do this. I never have been able to do this. I can't complete it. Another did not finish. So how do we circumvent that? What do we do? Let's just get clear on where you're at. And this is where, when we talked about the other day, my people who come to me, we self-select in or out, because they're going to go, I hear you. Okay. Or nope, nope, can't do that, man. I need to go. I need to continue, my path. I hear what you're saying. It makes sense, but it's not me, not now. So long-winded answer to, we get clear on where you're at, and that tells us what we can do based on your environment, your schedule, and your life. So
take that advice, everybody. Who you were just listening to is Jeff Turner, calling this one today, What's Your Purpose? Live Stronger and Longer. Take what Jeff said and apply that to any situation you come into with your health and fitness. if you're going to interview a personal trainer, if you're going to interview anyone, an online coach, whatever, do what Jeff said. If it doesn't fit right, move on. Okay. Don't waste your time, because if you're deconditioned, it can be a grind, right, Jeff? I mean, to get people started, I like that you're trying to get people to think about, before we start in the physical practice, let's figure out where our head is first. So let's go into the physical practice. We got a few minutes before we close this segment here. The physical practice, after you get into someone's head and you have decided, yes, we can work together. Yes, there is a fit here. Let's talk about physical practice, because physical practice is a big topic.
Yeah, it's and sometimes it's like, if you don't want to label it that, that's fine. We can call it whatever you want. But I kind of talk about as the villain, a workout mindset, and it's not really, but I need a villain, so that's why I grabbed it, and she's my villain. So a conventional, traditional workout mindset. I'm in the gym 3 days a week. I've got to go. I've got to go an hour. I've got to get cardio as well. Um, and for some people, I lost them already because they hate the gym. They'll never go to the gym. They don't have 3 days a week. They don't have an hour. And now you're kidding me. You want me to do cardio on top of that? Dude, I'm coming off the couch and now you want me to get all of this. So that type of thinking, and this goes back to when we talked about, changing the story of what they think it takes. I help them see that's not what it takes. This is what we talked about in the 80s and 90s. And doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, all of that works. And all of the traditional stuff works. All the Orange Theory, all the F45, the CrossFit, it all works. It just might not be best practices right here and now. So a physical practice is something that you can show up to every day. What I do is I lower the barrier to entry for a lot of these people. And then I reduce the friction. Now, Tom, your number one job is to show up. Okay. Now, it's not doing the minimum effective dose, although that is a tool, but it's not the tool for every day all the time. Because if we do too much too soon, we pay for that. But if we do too little too long, there's no challenge. We're not going to have any adaptation. We're not going to progress. So we set this doable, achievable, reachable, these milestones up. That therein lies a practice that creates habits, which in turn is a practice. Now your goals become byproducts of this physical practice instead of a routine or a program.
Here is an equation that I've used on the show before. Jeff hasn't heard this before, but it exactly applies to what he was just talking about. C plus C equals C. Okay. And you guys may remember me saying this, but choice plus challenge equals change. Okay. So, and I made that up. Okay. So choice, here are the two operatives. Okay. You have a choice, and I'm carrying this through, Jeff, just so you know. We're going to come to break here real quick. Choice is the operative. The change is part of the choice, and then the change is very much it's connected to the choice. So if the change is small, if the choice is little, you're going to get small change. Okay. Choice plus challenge equals change. So again, challenge, low, very little return. Higher challenge, better return. Choice plus challenge equals change. Think about the challenge. What are we trying to do here? Don't overdo it. Jeff Turner's here. What's your purpose? Live stronger, longer. This is the Tom Matt Show. We'll be right back. Boom. Choice plus challenge equals change. And my other one that I found somewhere, I'm like you. I mean, I see this stuff and I write it down and I kind of make it my own. It's what writers do. But choices have consequences. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay. So you're going to choose that? Fine. Your consequences are whatever you choose. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. Jeff Turner's here with us, talking about what's your purpose, live stronger and longer. Good show. Great guy. This segment sponsored by Brock Fletcher, the selling team of Keller Williams Realty, one of my great buddies. And again, full disclosure, you guys, like Craig with the second segment, third segment, we have utilized Brock's services. We love Mike Dedman. He was our buyer's agent for Little House Lansing, and Brock was our seller's agent for Big House Holt when we got rid of our, Forever Home back in the day. And everything is working out great. You want to get a hold of Brock? Call him 517-853-6408. 517-853-6408. That's the office number. His cell phone number, and he really does prefer this, 517-303-3262, 517-303-3262, or go online to kwsellingteam.com. Now remember, both of our sponsors have a substantial presence on our website. Okay, we got the reality of real estate, we got financial fitness, where Craig's got probably 30 episodes and Brock's got like 20. Go check those out. It doesn't cost you a dime. And you may have the answer to your question, maybe in a little excerpt of a podcast that we did, a couple of years ago with Brock. If you got questions on buying, selling, upsizing, downsizing, whatever's going on in your life with a real estate, Brock and the selling team of Keller Williams is the way to go. Their website, kwsellingteam.com, kwsellingteam.com. Remember, our homepage, TomMattShow.com, has all of our sponsors at the bottom and friends. Roll down to the bottom of the page and just click on through, baby, and away you go. So please give Brock a call, because supporting our sponsors helps us tremendously. And let him know you heard about us from the radio program. Okay? Tell him Tommy sent you. He'll know that immediately if you say Tommy, because radio people refer to me as Tommy. All right, back to my show today. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer with Jeff Turner. Jeff, we're talking about the physical practice. You covered that really well. Let's recap that real quick. You had to reduce the friction. You had getting people and getting in their head, awareness of where you are right from the beginning, and then the physical practice of what you're going to be doing. I added a couple of notes here, and I wanted to get your impression and let you talk about this. I'm a big massage therapist kind of guy. I get massage monthly, huge, huge, huge. I want to get your opinion on how important massage therapy is. Do you utilize massage therapy?
Yeah, I've got somebody, and it's depending on what season of life I'm in, it may be a weekly, or it might be a monthly or bi-monthly, or whatever. But yeah, and there's I don't know if you're familiar with Jill Miller, but she just, I think, is coming out with a new book, or her most recent, where she really talks about massage and the benefits of. One of the books that people know is The Role Model. She's phenomenal, just phenomenal. But yeah, so to answer your question, absolutely. But it's a tool, and it's like, why are you using it? Is it for physical therapy, or is it for mental therapy? Is it just to feel good? I mean, there's different ways. But yes, again, long answer, yes.
Human touch is vitally important. I wanted to add that into your physical practice, because that can be part of your physical practice, everybody. And I have the same. Stephanie Morales has been my massage therapist for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years now. And she just beats me up, and I love it. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of language that's going on during those sessions, but it's all good. All right. So we're on Jeff Turner's our guest, by the way, everybody. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer. Jeff, you've got your bullets for me here. We talked about physical practice. Was there anything else you wanted to add to the physical practice while we're still in this, on this bullet?
Just as the physical practice is a different way to frame this whole workout thing, this whole fitness thing. It's, I have a practice, and there is no fail. There is no falling off. There is no wagon to fall off or wheels to come off. You can't fail. You just keep showing up. And some days you show up more, because training is cumulative. And if you miss a day or a week or so, it's okay in the big picture, but it's just you just keep showing up. So it's just a different way to frame it. But once people do, everyone 100% love it. Sometimes it takes, a few months, and someone last week, just, it took him 3 years to really to get it. But so I'll stop there.
It's all good. And I mean, training is cumulative. I totally agree with that. It's a compounding type of thing, just like with your money, everybody. If you put money in investments, hopefully it's going to compound for you. Your exercise routine, your nutrition routine, your sleep routines, all of these little routines that you add into the practice, the physical practice, because all of those factors are part of the physical practice. Those will help you get to that next point, because again, like we said earlier, no silver bullet. All right, I'm dying to hear what the dose is all about there, bro. So what did you mean by that? The dose. I'm sure it's got a nice story to it, or two. Go right ahead.
I think I got this from Fred. Fred Hatfield was all into acronyms and stuff. So again, he kind of was he was my number one first mentor. But anyway, so the dose. People talk about we've got to balance training, we've got to balance, intensity and volume, and it's like, dude, we can't balance. There's no balance in life. In Mother Nature, it's not about a 50-50 or this or that. But what we can do is we can manage the variables, and that's what I mean by the dose. Think of it as the Goldilocks principle, the sweet spot. I refer to it as the dose because you can titrate it like medication. You can go up, you can go down. But the variables that I refer to are are volume, intensity, frequency, and complexity. And intensity, some people talk about it as how hard, oh man, that was really hard. But in exercise science, and most people will talk about it as your 1 RM, your how much, if I can push 100 pounds one time, that's 100% intensity. Volume, how much total work done. If we're talking about you on the rower, how many kilometers did you row? If we're talking about how much, did I deadlift or snatch, it's how many, total volume, total work. Frequency is how often. Complexity is the coordination demand, 2 feet versus 1 foot, or, one single arm, single leg, double. So, but we manage these things. We turn the dials up and down based on your readiness. Where are you, or what season of training are you in? So that's the dose. We're always going to show up. We just might not do, on a scale of 1 to 10, we might not do a 9. So maybe we dial it back and do a 6 today. So does that make sense?
Season of training. Excuse me, Jeff. I want to ask you about that season of training. That's a nice way of saying what?
Yeah. I refer to it. I had a guy this morning, he travels a lot, and there's a certain time of the year where he's just traveling, 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 traveling. So at this time, we're not going for records and PRs. I could care less. This is just about getting him in, seeing where his head's at, letting him talk, and then getting the movements, make sure the patterns are correct. So we're going to work on movement quality as opposed to chasing PRs. That's that season. For me, when it's the weather, again, growing up in LA, it was good all the time. Same in Hawaii. But here, I'm indoors more so than I was. So my training is different. I may do more stuff, whether it's a treadmill or more, kettlebell swings or things like that. Instead of like now when it's getting nice, I'll go out and crawl and carry up and down the driveway. I'll, everything will be done outside. I'll go for walks, runs, trails. Seasonal, just like we eat seasonally, I train seasonally.
Very good explanation. I like that a lot. Jeff Turner's our guest today, everybody. We're just, what the whole thing about all of this stuff is we just have to change the narrative. In our heads, we have to think about the story that we keep telling ourselves over and over and over. Oh, I'm too old. Oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I'm too skinny. Oh, I'm too this. Oh, I'm too that. Stop with the limiting beliefs. Stop with the limiting beliefs. I'm all about enabling beliefs, everybody. And as long as you have that inner voice talking, Jeff, what do you think about that? I need your comment on that for the inner voice there. That the limiting beliefs. Give me a 30-second response on that. And then we'll go to break.
Well, we talk about that in the awareness piece, and that's, growth mindset, fixed mindset. The fixed mindset, I'm uncoordinated, I'm unathletic, I've never been able to do this, I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, well, the growth mindset is I just haven't done that yet. It's not, I can't do that. It's a challenge. And I'm excited to learn about this. So I help people, yeah. So that's what we do is just change their mindset.
Keep that thought there because I'm going to come back. I want to talk about Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck, and that mindset because she's the one who coined that. And there's a whole story about her and her being at Stanford and all that. Our guest today, Jeff Turner, talking about what's your purpose. What is your purpose if you do not have purpose in your life, everybody, if one of your pillars in your life is not your purpose, you need to reevaluate what the heck you're doing because with lack of purpose comes all kinds of boredom. You're listening to the Tom Mann Show. Boom. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us this week, either getting us on the radio program, on the over-the-air broadcast, or on the podcast, or on the video. By the way, thank you to all of the listeners and the viewers out there who are making our YouTube channel grow and grow. We haven't been on the YouTube thing that long, not even 2 years. And since I refired from the university, and we're almost at 3 million views on that YouTube channel, and we're just sort of just plugging along with that thing. So it's been very, very interesting to say the least. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer with Jeff Turner. Guy's amazing. Jeff, how do you want people to connect with you, get some coaching, speaking engagements, pick up your writing, find you on social media? Please take your time, share all of that with the listeners, please.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. My website is strongerlongerlife.com. And that's always a good way. I have a guide, how to develop a physical practice on there. They can take. I have a newsletter that I write about all this stuff every week. It comes out Monday morning, and that's over on Substack. And I wish I had the exact address, but if you go Substack, second half, strongersecondhalf.com, something
Find it.
like that. It's over on Substack.
Well, just send it to me before when I do the recap. I'll put it in the show notes so we can get you the Substack, because Robert Bryce, one of our other guests, our energy expert, he's huge on Substack too. So you need to know about that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you were.
Yeah, and I've got two more things. One is an email course that I'm putting together, and I'll give that to you guys and to whoever wants it. I'm just uploading it now. I'll send the link over as well, and that's gonna teach you how to do this stuff as well with some worksheets. It's a 5-day course, and it's just you get an email every day with an actionable thing to do, and you can implement it in your life. Again, no charge on that. Lastly, you know, while I do coach, some people don't want that full coaching relationship, either financially or time commitment, whatever. So I'm putting together a community, and I'm going to start this next week, and it's off social media, where people will be able to go in, will be able to take my newsletters and do deeper dives on how to implement and integrate this stuff into their life. I'll be in the community daily. I'll be able to coach them up. You can send me videos. I can look at your form. How do you crawl? How do you carry? How do you snatch, press, all that stuff. So they'll get coaching as well as accountability, but in a way they can, we'll be able to walk the path with others that are on the similar journey.
I got to ask you, man.
Yeah.
A lot of your stuff is free.
Yeah.
Why?
I was taught years ago, it's just, give your best stuff away. And there's always going to be people who want more. And those who want more are what I call your right and ready, clients or people, whatever. And we're a right fit for each other. But if I can give you stuff that's going to take you to the next level, without engaging me, I think that's awesome. I mean,
And you get better. I mean, I was told the same thing with speaking. I was really into getting into my speaking engagements and doing a lot of speaking before COVID. And it's like I gave away so many free speaking engagements at the university just to get better. Just keep it. It's like Jeff was saying in the first bullet, the physical practice. Anytime and I like that a lot, because anytime we're doing anything like doing radio or writing or doing any kind of skill, it's all about the practice, everybody. It's like when you're studying for a class, it's the practice that you're going through. It's doing the work. Build the foundation and stay with your fundamentals. All right, let's go to point number 3 here. We're rolling here. Living stronger, longer. I almost flipped that around and made that number 1, but I'm glad I did not, Jeff, because we needed to start, like you start your programs right from the beginning with the mental aspect through the physical, through the dose. Now we're going into like, okay, let's really start to fine tune things. I think, please talk about living stronger and longer.
All right. So you asked me where I got my last tagline. So with this one in 2011, I started using rock tape, which is kinesio tape. And on their box, they have go stronger, longer. I'm like, oh, I love that. So 3, 4, 5 years later or so, it's like I started getting more into the longevity space and doing things and working and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know what? I am going to change one word and I'm going to use that. So I swiped it and made it my own. So live stronger, longer. And it's, and like, I'm a member of the organization Strong First, and Strong First, their philosophy is strength has a greater purpose. So strength is not just how much can you lift, and so a lot of this, as you've heard me talk about, some of it is getting stronger, in the mind, maybe it's, in the heart, whatever. So living stronger, longer, when people say, what does that mean? I'm going to say, yes. Let's talk about it, Tom. Where are you? And let's see what that means to you. And it doesn't mean, having a strong bench press, although it may. So
it may, and that's the whole thing. Okay,
yeah.
Jeff, the word out there is you need to lift more, that we need to be stronger. There's a lot more emphasis out there, a lot more knowledge out there about living longer and stronger. I like what you're talking about with the longevity space. Do you think that, do you believe, I'm gonna retract that think because that's a limiting belief. Do you believe that in this longevity space, that if we convince people to buy into living stronger and you will live longer, do you believe in that?
100%. I mean, Peter Attia says something. He says there's been no one ever on their deathbed that said, "I wish I wasn't this strong," or "I wish I didn't have this much muscle." I wish, so, and it's just this, all the data is there. I mean, as we get older and people lose, muscle mass and become weak, and there's so much, there's just so much out there that is like, y'all need to do a little bit of strength training. You need to do enough. How much? That's entirely up to you. Peter Attia talks about, he's a extreme. I'm not so extreme. I've trained the extreme. I've trained the best in the world. So I know like you said earlier, everything has a price, everything has a consequence, a cost. I'm not willing to pay that cost. I don't care about being a champion, how much I can lift. I just want to live well, man. So what, that's goes back to living stronger, longer. I want to be able to do things when I'm 80, 85. I play ultimate with my, 12-year-old grandson now. I want to do that in another 10 years, with my 3-year-old granddaughter now when she's 13. So I don't see me slowing down. So yes, to answer your question.
Pick up exactly. I mean, 100,000%, 100%, million%, living stronger, longer. If you carry more muscle mass, here's the thing. From my perspective, for me personally, everybody, I have arthritis. I mean, it's a given thing. I'm an active guy, and arthritis is normally a breakdown of our of articular cartilage because of use, and that's part of it. Okay, so you work within yourself. What is working for you? Find the thing. Live stronger, longer. For me, I have to maintain muscle mass because my joints are a little iffy, and so I don't want to take. The big problem for us as we're growing older, everybody living stronger and longer, are falls. We want to try to minimize any type of falls. So it's like, because that's where people get hung up, especially as we're growing older, longer. And it's one of those things. Jeff, what have you seen with fall prevention with people, the proprioception that we can try and help people understand? How important is that?
Well, it's really important, and that's not my expertise of study. A friend of mine is a physical therapist. She's a gerontologist, and this is her expertise. She might be someone to have on the show, but um, I train it. We train balance as well to minimize the risk of falls. And again, minimizing the risk of falls is a byproduct of getting stronger, of strength training. Um, so it's all part of it. But I
It,
look at more, instead of like the goal, it's a byproduct of.
it's part of the goal. It's like some of our guests that have been on here, our Alzheimer's expert, talk about the leaky roof. Okay, everybody has in your life, think of your life as like a house and you have either a really solid roof and nothing's getting through with it. In the Alzheimer's dementia, there are leaks in your roof and you're having problems. This type of stuff that Jeff's talking about can help us minimize the leaks. We want to minimize the leaks in the roof of our life because that's the whole point. This longevity space that Jeff's talking about is very, very important. I got a minute to go before we go to break here, bud, and I want to let you set up the last segment. You're going to talk about rhythm. Please give me 30 seconds on rhythm.
Physical practice is the hardware. It's what you do. Rhythm is the software. There it was in 8 seconds.
The software. We're going to come back with that. That's what the whole last segment's going to be on, everybody. Let me recap what we've talked about so far. First off, we had our 4 bullets, but before that, we had our 1A bullet, awareness of where you are. All right. Then there's the physical practice. This is all things that we've talked about in the show today, everybody, in case you're just joining us. And within the physical practice, you want to reduce friction. Massage was something we talked about, foundation fundamentals. You have Jeff's the dose, the intensity, the volume, all of those things. Living stronger, longer, and then rhythm, the software. Jeff Turner's with us. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer. Life is good when you have the right people around you to help you feel your best. This is the Tom Show. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. What's your purpose? As I said earlier, if you don't have a purpose in your life, I have my 4 pillars model, a slide that I came up with for one of my speaking engagements. Purpose, passion were my first 2. Purpose was my number 1. Passion was number 2. Enthusiasm was number 3. And faith was number 4. Those are my pillars. Okay. But purpose should be everyone's pillar, one of your 4 pillars. Think of your purpose as something that you can help make your life better, stronger. Okay. Jeff Turner's with us today. What's your purpose? Jeff, one more time, please give everybody a chance to, in case they just joined us, your contact information, how they can get a hold of you, your philosophies, and then we'll get into rhythm.
So the email is jeff@strongerlongerlife.com. That's the website as well. And then, you know what, hit the newsletter up. Every Monday morning that comes out, substack.strongersecondhalf.com, I believe, but if it's there. So
Stronger second half, you'll find it.
yeah.
Changing the narrative. Okay. I wrote that as a note here because in our heads, we have this story that is continually running constantly. It's like, what have we learned? What have we, the experiences, the memories? And we get caught up in these narratives of the limiting beliefs. And that's why I love having guys like Jeff on, because we need to just crack open the door a little bit, just so that you can let in a little bit of light. We're not trying to ram this thing down your throat, everybody. We understand. We understand. If you're deconditioned, we're there. We want to support you. Okay. Let's talk about rhythm, the software. I like talking about balance. I know you're balance in life, life balance, work-life balance, all these kinds of things. But I found it interesting when you gave me the bullet of rhythm. Let's talk about it.
I found over the, throughout the years that people have a hard time sticking with things, even though I talk about, there is no failure, there is no wheels coming off, there is, it's hard for them to really grasp that and hang on to it. So how do we make it stick? And I talked about lowering the barrier to entry. We talked about reducing friction. I think of rhythm as how Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I think that's his name, had the word flow. It's
Yep.
you're in the flow. I talk about having the grace to have the space to acknowledge and accept where you're at. Now, if you, again, these are cool sound bites, but if you really do that, if you really accept where you are, have the grace to go, hey, Tom, all I have in me today, right now, with everything going on, is to just go outside and go for a walk. Dude, that's okay. That's a little milestone. That's something that's part of this practice, not the practice, a practice, your practice. So flow is kind of what makes it stick. It's the juice, it's the energy to know that, you can come back tomorrow. And I really do like that phrase, have the grace to have the space. So sometimes it sounds like, oh, Turner, you're just talking about semantics. Maybe, don't know. It's just these things come to me in my head and I play with it, I write about it, and this one stuck. So if we talk about this in a few months, I'll have a different story probably, but that's the gist of it, Tom.
I love to have the grace to have the space. I've made note of that one. I'm going to put that in our show notes for sure. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer with Jeff Turner. Jeff, you had some other stories when you were in SoCal, and from our notes, I want to just kind of digress for a second. Some of the athletes that you've trained, some of these professional athletes, and some of the stories that you have, because people love to hear the stories about like experiences. You've been in the fitness industry for 40 years. What are give me a couple of your best Jeff stories from back in the day, maybe SoCal. You know where I'm leading for the first one, right? You know that one that we talked about. Do that one and then go ahead and any other ones. I know you got 1,000 of them in your head. Go ahead, please.
So again, my first mentor, Fred Hatfield, was world renowned, and he got the call because this football player wanted to make a return to the NFL after becoming an actor and opening restaurants and doing this and that. So this is Lyle Alzado, and he's, I believe, 41 years old, trying to make a comeback for the Raiders, and so I got the call, and Fred says, Jeff, I got a gig for you. I'm like, cool. He says, I want you to show up at Gold's Gym, Venice Beach. Now, just that in and of itself, Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, the mecca of bodybuilding in the world. This is 1990, 1989, 90. So I get there, I meet Fred, I meet Lyle, and it's just, all eyes on us. And it was just quite impressive. He was just 275 pounds of, you know, 7% body fat. I mean, there was all kinds of stories, but Maria Shriver came out and did a special, with us and with Lyle, and I had some other radio friends come out. Mark and Brian did a show. So yeah, it was big. It was incredible. Lyle was an incredible guy, but that was a lot of stories in just in that one. But that was a big one, Tom. That was my LA one for sure.
What was he like as a athlete at that point in his life? What was he like when you met him? Because I remember Lyle Alzado very, very well. I mean, that guy was a monster. He was just a beast. So, what was he really like in person?
All right, so our first movement, we're on the bench. Two stories about him. We're on the bench. He's getting ready, and here I am, Mr. Trainer. He's pushing it up and he's pushing it up and he's barely got one. And here I go into loud trainer mode. Let's go. Come on. You've got lip up. And he says, shut up. And I'm like, I turned white, and he said, Jeff, he goes, I don't need a cheerleader. Just tell me what to do. So that kind of freaked me out for a minute. It also gave me a life lesson that not everyone is the same. They all need different things, and meet them where they are. But he was, I don't want to say a teddy bear, but he was just a really nice individual. When we weren't in the gym grinding, when he wasn't doing his thing, because again, he was going up against kids, in their 20s. Howie Long was on the other side. He was on this side. Um, he was going up against some big dudes. So that was that was a major one.
How
But
was it? Now, I train at the university gym, as I mentioned to you. You may have heard me say that at Michigan State, and I work with students a lot. And being, if not, I'm the oldest guy at the gym, maybe one of for sure. It's like I like working with younger people. I really enjoy it because it's like they want our input, and so many of the people in our demographic now, Jeff, our age, are they're afraid, or whatever the word is, to approach the young people. I think that we need to embrace them. Every young person that I've come in contact with at the gym, they're all stars. Talk about that gym thing. I mean, getting close with the young people. You've coached youth and young people for a long time. How great is it?
it's fantastic. I had a couple gyms, and the one gym in particular, I had all kinds of elite and professional athletes coming in, but I also had my daughters, and they were 11 and 13. And one of my things, I love training that 11 to 13-year-old girl, because they haven't been messed up yet by other strength coaches or other coaches. They were just a blank canvas. My goal with my daughter was to make it to where she could go lift, bang with the boys in any gym, any place, anytime, anywhere. Give her the confidence to do the thing. And that's exactly what she did. And she ended up achieving her goal to play at the highest level, or in college. But so it was everything, because in that gym, they were all working together. And you could see the pro players looking at some of these kids, and no one had attitude, no one had ego. It was just they were helping and asking questions and goofing off a little. And then, Tom, it was so cool.
It's
And I have a couple kids that I work with now, just because, but it's fun, man.
I
Miss
got
it.
a kid. I got a kid that I'm going to be working with this summer. Come on, and I hope he hears this episode. But he'll be a senior at Michigan State next year. He's a big guy, and he's solid. He's really, really strong, but he wants to shape up. And this summer, I'm going to give him 2 sessions a week while I'm in town, when I'm in town. And we're going to start. I told him I'm taking this piece of granite that is this young man, and we're going to turn him into a freaking statue, because, and he is down. And that's the thing about these young people are so thirsty. They're so hungry for the attention and the acknowledgement of what they're doing. And let me tell you, a lot of especially the girls, the young women, they're really, really good at these Olympic lifts. I have learned so much. Well, the crew team, as I've said before, they've taught me the rowing. A lot of the women teach you how to do the lifts because they're just so much more flexible. Hey, Jeff, I need a takeaway. We're almost on at the end of the show here already. What's your takeaway for your first visit to our radio program?
Yeah, I think we'll end like we started. You know, getting older hopefully is inevitable, but becoming weak and fragile is preventable. And people say, okay, how? Just start, man. Just start. And if anyone has a question, reach out. I mean, when I send my email newsletter, I say hit reply, ask me questions. I'm happy to coach you up a little bit, but just start. You know, it's just starting where you're at, not where you were 10 years ago, or not where you hope to be in 12 months. Right here, right now. That's how we start.
Be present.
Yes,
Awareness of where you are, as Jeff said. Give us that email one more time, just so people can get on your newsletter.
Jeff at strongerlongerlife.com.
Awesome. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guest topics, issues. Please let me know. Sponsorships are available. They're limited, but we have some available. Drop us a note. Give me a call. Hit us on that contact box on the website, tommattshow.com. If you missed any portion of the show, the podcast is always there. Check out the excerpt. Go to YouTube. Please subscribe to that. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Just like Jeff Turner taught us, he's the man. Thanks to Jeff for being with us. Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Sandy, Craig, Brock, have a great weekend, everybody. Go out there and do your thing. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. And lastly, I want to say thank you again to Mitch Anderson and Vanessa for their production work. Thank you so much. We are out. That was fantastic. Jeff Turner is amazing and love girl dads. I wonder why, we girl dads, we're different folk out there, right? So until next time, everybody, it's been a pleasure. What's your purpose? Live stronger and longer. Live like you really want to live. Get better. I'm Papa Tom. This has been the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us, subscribing, doing all those good things. Peace out. Love y'all.